What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another review video. Big shout out goes out to TXED for reaching out to me and asking me to review one of their electric mountain bikes. This is the eTough Power R model, and just for size comparison, this is what I look like on this mountain bike. I am 5'8", 160 pounds. And the sitting position is pretty nice. It is a little bit forward, like hunched over. As far as the suspension, it is a better than average fork, and it does have lockout. Of course, we're going to be testing all of that stuff. In this review, I'm going to go over everything there is to know about this electric mountain bike. I'm going to talk about the specs. I'll do a speed test, a brake test. I'm going to ride around and talk about the riding experience. And we're going to take it on a little mini off-road adventure just to see how it handles. There will be chapters down below, so feel free to skip around to whatever part is of interest to you. But first, let's get started with the specs. So this is the TXED eTough Power R electric mountain bike. It features a 750 watt Bafang hub motor in the rear, coupled with a 48 volts 11.6 amp hour removable battery. TXED claims that this should give you a range of up to 37 miles depending on riding mode and riding conditions, of course. We have 27.5 inch by 2.2 inch Kenda tires, coupled with hydraulic brakes with 180 millimeter rotors. This bike also has an RST Blaze front hydraulic suspension fork with 100 millimeters of travel, an LTWOO 9-speed gear system, a 6-level intelligent pedal assist with a 12-magnet cadence sensor, and an adjustable velo seat. The total weight of this bike is 60.8 pounds, with the max load capacity of 396 pounds. And up on the handlebars we have our rear brake, our gear changer, and the bell. In the center we have our display with all of the information you'll need. And on the left side we have our front brake, our on-off switch and mode selector, and the thumb throttle. And that is pretty much it for the specs. Now, as far as the price, this current model goes for $699, but I will have a discount code for you guys if you're interested in this bike. All of that stuff will be in the description. Now, before I continue, just a few things that stand out to me is one is this RST fork. That is a very nice sight to see. It is a way better than average fork that is on this bike, and it actually feels really nice. Second thing is, and this is just personal, is I love the way this bike looks, and I love the color on here. Looks really, really nice. And the last thing that stand out to me is just the thumb throttle being on the left side. I did have other bikes that had that before. It is weird. It takes a second to get used to. Once you do, it's not a big deal, but it is on the left side. Just wanted to mention that. Alright, now before I do the speed test, I just want to show you the starting procedure. On this bike, it's actually a bit different. You don't hold down the power button. You press it once, and then you have to press it again, and then a third time, and the bike turns on. This bike does have 6 pedal assist modes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And there's actually like modes. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's like power, normal, and eco. You can change that through the settings. Another thing is this bike comes locked at class 2 e-bike right out of the box. You have to unlock it in order to achieve the top speed, which is 28 miles an hour. I already unlocked mine. It's a pretty simple process. So I'm going to be testing the fully unlocked mode, pedal assist mode 6. I got my phone GPS open and the speed reset. Sweet. Put that in my pocket. And let's see what this thing can do. I'll be using throttle only. Now, it's supposed to hit 28 miles an hour, but it is really windy today. I really hope it's not going to affect our top speed. As far as power, takeoff is pretty nice. It doesn't yank you back, but it definitely starts going pretty fast. The bike shows 29 miles per hour, so it reaches the top speed fairly quick. I'm just going to keep on going a little bit more, just to give my GPS app enough time to catch up. Bike kind of settled around 28 miles an hour. Yeah, I can really feel that wind pushing. Okay, let's stop and see what kind of speed we got over here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that well. My phone's GPS is showing 27.3 miles per hour. If it wasn't as windy as it is today, I might have been able to hit 28 miles an hour. And that was our speed test. Again, it was really windy today, so you might be able to hit 28 miles an hour. I was only able to hit 27.3, but regardless, that was our speed test. Now let's do our brake test. Now the beautiful thing about this bike is the hydraulic brakes on here. These are brand new, so they will only get better with time as they bed themselves in. But regardless, with all that being said, I'm gonna make my way up to 20 miles an hour, and here we are already. And I'm gonna hit the brakes in 3, 2. Woo, noisy at the end right there. Okay, so you can see where my skid mark started. I hit this light pole over here. It actually started braking a bit too early, but we're looking at an estimated 15 to 20 feet or so of stopping distance. And as I mentioned, it will only get better with time as they bed themselves in. These are brand new brakes, but they actually feel really good. And that was our brake test. Now let's talk about the riding experience and the bike itself. The bike feels very solid, feels very comfortable, and I'm loving that suspension. We're gonna be testing it off-road shortly, but feels very, very nice. Now it is a hardtail, so no suspension in the rear. That is not really my favorite. I'd rather have a full suspension e-bike, but again, it's a style of bike. The bike itself feels very nimble, very light. The throttle response feels really good on this thing. Let's see how it does on some grass. Okay, not bad. The front is really nice. Let's check some. Okay, not bad at all. The frame feels very solid, and the bike itself is straight as an arrow. You don't want a bike that when you let go of the throttle, the tire wobbles all over the place. Handlebar is as solid as could be. The tires are very big on this bike, and you just feel like you're sitting higher and like you can roll over anything. Maneuverability is really nice. The size of the handlebars is really nice. I really like the texture on the grips right here. Really nice and very grippy. And as far as the throttle being on the left side, again, it's not natural for me to do it. I'm used to going on the right, but you get used to it fairly quick, and it's really not that big of a deal. Now the only thing so far that is not the best is the seat. Even though it does look nice, the saddle, whatever you want to call it, it's a bit harsh. I don't know if it's gonna break in with time and become better, but as of right now, it's a bit harsh. As far as the pedal response, let's see. I'm starting with my left foot up. This position, we're talking 1. Okay, pretty fast and immediate response on the pedal. With the pedal assist, you're talking 1 whole revolution and the motor kicks in and feels pretty good. All right, let's do our off-road test. But before we do that, I just want to show you again the power of this thing for such a small motor, 750 watt. It's look at that thing. It just wants to fly. So it's got decent enough power. But anyways, with all that being said, let's do our off-road test over here. This is a fairly new trail for me, so we'll take it easy and see how this thing does. I think I've passed through this trail once on my Sauron, and it was a pretty fun experience. Let's see how this thing does. Okay, let's see how it does with this uphill. Very well. Very good. Okay, seems like we got another hill coming up. Will it be able to handle it? That's the question. I'm gonna try not to pedal. Nice. Okay, go, 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 go. There you go. Slowly gaining speed. That is good for the size of motor. I'm highly impressed. Wow. That went better than I thought. We're still climbing, although it's not as a rough of an incline, but we are still climbing. Gotta close my visor. Ooh, bumpy. All right, look at that. That went better than I expected. See how it does over this terrain. Very sandy. Ooh, loose sand. Pretty good. Really good. Wow, I'm really impressed. Well, that went a lot better than I expected, because you're climbing this whole time. And I didn't think it would do well, especially in this section right here where it's very loose like beach sand. Very good. The brakes are phenomenal. Yeah, it is a little bumpy of a ride, but this fork is actually doing way better than I thought. We're flying down this thing. Wow. Okay. Are we gonna make it? Are we gonna be able to make this back up? Let's see. Oh yeah, no problems at all. Yeah, brakes work really well. Very impressive. I'm actually making this section longer than usual because it is an off-road mountain bike, so I kind of want to show you all that it could do. And it honestly did way better than I thought. Okay. All right, let's stop, and I like to check like headset, if anything got loose, anything like that, but everything looks and feels very good. All right, well, I'm a little bit out of breath. Just shows you how bad of a shape I'm in. I usually take my Suron to places like this, which makes my life a lot easier. But wow, I'm really surprised with the performance of this thing. I honestly did not think it would do so well in that off-road section, and it caught me by surprise. But anyways, at this point, let's do things I like, things I don't like. Is this thing good value for money or not? And we'll give it a score. Let's start with things I like. I like the design, I like the look, I like the frame, I like the suspension fork, I love the brakes, and I like the speed. I always say that once you hit 25 miles an hour or faster on these things, it actually feels like you're moving and it feels very fun. So 27.3 I was able to hit. You might be able to hit the full 28 miles an hour. Now keep in mind, it's not going to be the fastest bike in the world. It's not advertised for that. It's for a 750 watt motor to hit those speeds. That is really nice. And I like the fact that if you want to stay in the legal limits of like e-bike classes, you're pretty legal with this bike. 750 watt, that is what the law is in California, so you're perfectly good on this bike. Another thing I really like is just this bike has very high quality components. So from the motor being a Bafang motor, the tires are Kenda, that's a very well known brand. The fork is an RST fork, very well known brand. The seat is Velo, which is a very known brand. Alright, now let's do things I don't like, and there are a few. I always try to find at least one, just so I'm, honest in my reviews, but in this case there are a few. One of them being the thumb throttle on the left. Again, it's not the end of the world, as I said in the review, but it's, my brain is wired so much to be on the right side that having it on the left side is weird. You do get used to it, but it is weird, so I have to mention that. The second thing is the seat. Even though it is a name brand seat, it is a bit rough. It's not the softest in the world. It might break in with time and become better, but as of right now, it's pretty rough. And the last thing is really not that I don't like it, it's more of I wish it had, is rear suspension. Again, it's a hardtail. It's not supposed to have rear suspension, but just me personally, if this thing had rear suspension, this bike would be amazing. Now, with all that stuff being said, do I think this thing is good value for money? For $699 plus the discount that I can give you guys, again, link in the description if you're interested, I think this is an awesome value for money. Very, very good. You're getting a lot of high quality components and a beautiful looking e-bike. That is, you cannot go wrong with that. Now, what score am I giving this bike? Giving my experience with it and the price, definitely the price, putting it all in one package, I'm gonna have to give this bike an 8.5 out of 10. And that is a really high score because I truly believe that it's a very, very good value for money. Now, I'm pretty sure I was able to go over everything there is to know about this electric mountain bike, but in case I miss anything, please leave it in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer. If you guys want to see more of these reviews, and there are plenty more coming, definitely hit that subscribe button. But that is pretty much it for me, guys. My name is Tom. This has been the TXED E-Tough Power R electric mountain bike review. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.